He strolled into the office that crisp autumn morning, thermos in hand, whistling a half-remembered tune from some old rock station. Alex had been doing this routine for 16 years now. Same desk in the corner of the operations floor at Apex Logistics. Same nod to Sarah in accounting as he passed by. Same quick scan of the morning reports on his dual monitors. Everything hummed along like a well-oiled machine. The kind he'd spent countless overtime hours tuning himself. No major outages. No frantic emails from clients about delayed shipments. It was the sort of quiet he craved, the invisible glue holding the chaos at bay. He'd texted me at 7:45 a.m. A blurry shot of his cluttered desk with a sticky note reading "Smooth sailing today" and a winking emoji. My reply was our usual, a heart and a coffee cup. Who could have guessed that by noon, the man who'd poured his soul into this place would be staring down the barrel of a betrayal that would rewrite everything? The calendar ping popped up at 10:15. Unassuming as ever. HR meeting, room 312, 15 minutes. No agenda. No heads up. Alex shrugged it off, grabbed his thermos, and headed down the hall, cracking a lame joke to Mike from IT about finally getting that ping-pong table in the break room. The guy chuckled, oblivious. Room 312 felt sterile, the air conditioning blasting like it was trying to freeze out any warmth. Two faces he recognized but didn't know well, the HR manager, Linda, with her clipped smile, and a stone-faced guy from finance whose name tag read Greg. No pleasantries. Linda slid a single sheet across the table. Effective end of the month. We're adjusting your compensation to align with our new fiscal strategy. Alex blinked, scanning the page. Adjusted? To what? Greg cleared his throat, avoiding eye contact. It's a 65% reduction. Market adjustments. You know, you can accept or explore other options. The words landed like a sucker punch, but Alex didn't flinch. Not outwardly. Inside, though, something twisted, a slow burn starting in his gut. 16 years. The all-nighter stirring the 2020 supply chain meltdown, when he'd single-handedly rerouted half the fleet to keep deliveries flowing. The custom protocols he'd coded from scratch after that cyber glitch wiped out a week's worth of data. He'd been the fixer. The one they called when the executives' grand plans hit reality's wall. And now, this. Eyes downcast. Voices flat, like they were discussing office supplies. He nodded once, stood up, understood, walked out without another word. Thermos still warm in his hand. Passed Mike again. Muttered something about grabbing an early lunch. By the time he pulled into our driveway, his text to me was just 2 words. It's done. I didn't need details. The weight in those syllables said it all. That evening, dinner was the usual grilled salmon with a side of veggies. The kind Alex prepped every weekend like clockwork. Our daughters, Emily and Sophie, chattered about school. Oblivious at first. Emily, the older one at 18, caught the shift in his posture, the way his fork hovered midair. Dad, you okay? He set it down, looked at them both. Company's cutting my pay. Big time. 65%. Sophie's eyes widened, her 12-year-old mind racing. Does that mean no more trips to the lake? Alex forced a smile, but I saw the crack in it. We'll figure it out, kiddo. Emily went quiet, scrolling her phone under the table. Later, as I loaded the dishwasher, he stood at the sink, staring out into the backyard dusk. They said it like it was nothing, he whispered. Like I was lucky to keep the scraps. I touched his arm, but he didn't turn. The man who'd always been our rock was fracturing, and I could feel the tremors building. Sleep didn't come easy that night. Around 2 a.m., I found him at the kitchen table, laptop glowing in the dark. Not browsing job sites. No, he was digging old emails, archived reports, project timelines. "What are you doing?" I asked softly. He didn't look up. Connecting dots. His fingers flew across the keys, pulling up a file from 8 months back, buried in a chain about vendor renewals. He'd flagged it then. A casual note about offshore optimization projections. No one had responded. Now, reading it again, his face hardened. There it was, a roadmap for phasing out domestic ops roles, replacing them with cheaper overseas teams. Discreet rollout to minimize disruption, it read. Dated before they'd even hinted at budget woes. This wasn't a cut. It was a setup, a slow push out the door. They'd used him to stabilize the ship, then planned to sink as part of it. The fury simmered. Not explosive yet, but gathering like storm clouds. He closed the laptop, met my eyes. They think I'm expendable. It wasn't a question. It was the spark. By morning, the air in the house felt charged. Alex showered, dressed in his usual button-down, but his movements were deliberate, calculated. Over coffee, he scribbled a list, names of colleagues he'd mentored, the ones who'd stuck through the tough times. "What's that for?" I asked. He folded it away. Options. He didn't go into the office that day. Instead, he worked from home, sifting through more files, piecing together the full picture, memos on talent redundancy, emails about absorption phases. They'd been planning this for months, betting on his loyalty to keep him quiet. But loyalty cuts both ways. As the sun climbed, his phone buzzed an unknown number. He answered, and I watched his expression shift from wary to intrigued. "This is Alex." A pause. Then, a voice on the other end, smooth and assured. "Mr. Harlan, we've followed your work at Apex for a while. Interested in a conversation." It was Vanguard Solutions, Apex's biggest rival. The offer came fast, $170K base. Signing bonus. Lead role in ops strategy. And bring your key people, they added. "We know about the shifts at Apex." He hung up, stared at the wall. "Why me?" he'd asked them. Their reply, "Because you're the one holding it all together. And now, you're available." The decision didn't hit like a thunderclap. It built slowly, over the next few days, as Alex weighed the pieces. Vanguard wasn't just any competitor, they were the sleek upstart, with cutting-edge tech and a reputation for valuing talent over spreadsheets. 3 years back, during that brutal inventory crisis at Apex, they'd tried headhunting him. He'd turned them down flat. "Loyalty matters," he'd told me then, and I'd admired that steadfastness. Now, staring at the email with Vanguard's formal offer, that loyalty felt like a chain they'd snapped themselves. 65% wasn't a trim, it was a dismissal disguised as mercy. And the family? Emily's college acceptance loomed. Sophie needed braces. And our mortgage didn't care about corporate gratitude. "We could make this work," I said one evening. As he paced the living room, he stopped, looked at me with eyes that held a new edge. "But why should we?" He started with the calls that weekend, after the girls were asleep. No emails, too traceable. Just voice. Low and steady, like he was sharing a secret over a beer. First was Tom from logistics, the guy who'd backed him up during the 2019 blackout when half the warehouse went dark. "I'm out of Apex," Alex said simply. "Got an offer from Vanguard. Better pay. Real autonomy. They're looking for a few more. Thought of you." A long pause on the other end, then Tom's voice, rough with surprise. "Count me in." By Sunday night, for more had bitten. Lisa from procurement, who'd negotiated deals that saved millions, Raj from systems, the quiet genius passed over for promotions, Carla, the fulfillment lead who'd pulled all-nighters beside him, and Ben, the analyst with a knack for spotting glitches before they blew up. Each call ended the same. This stays quiet. If you're in, I'll handle the next steps. They didn't need convincing. Apex had worn them down too, missed raises, endless restructures. The sense of being cogs in a machine that didn't oil its own parts. But not everyone was solid. The fifth call went to Derek, a sharp mid-level op with ambition that sometimes veered into self-preservation. Alex hesitated before dialing, but history won out. Derek listened, asked a few questions, then said, "Let me sleep on it." Fair enough. That was at 9:12 p.m. By 5:45 a.m. Monday, Alex's inbox had a message from Apex's VP of Operations, Karen Ellis. "Quick check-in when you're in? Nothing major. Too casual. Too early." He knew. Derek had talked. No anger flared, just a cold resolve. Alex didn't respond. Instead, he opened an old script he'd written years ago. A failsafe he'd buried in the system after a near-catastrophic data loss. Called it Echo Lock, a protocol that looped critical tasks, forcing manual overrides only he and his core team knew how to bypass. It wasn't malice. It was insurance. Never deployed. Until now. At 6:30 a.m., he activated it remotely, clean and untraceable. Then he submitted a vacation request. 2 weeks off. Startings immediately. Simple. By 8 a.m., the first ripples hit. Apex's dashboard stuttered. Queues backed up. But nothing screamed crisis yet. Vanguard moved fast. Onboarding packets arrived via secure link. Offers tailored to each person. Lisa texted Alex a thumbs-up emoji. Raj called to say he'd never felt so valued. But as the day wore on, the tension at home thickened. Emily overheard a snippet, confronted him in the kitchen. "Dad, is this revenge?" He paused, stirring his coffee. "No. It's moving on." But I saw the glint, the way he'd stopped playing defense. Karen's second message came at noon. Urgent. Reports of outreach to staff. Need to discuss. Ignored. By afternoon, Apex's systems were chewing themselves, shipment trackers frozen. Priority logics in loops. Clients started pinging. Confused. Alex sat on the porch. Phone silent. Watching leaves swirl in the wind. He wasn't destroying anything. He was just absent. And absence, for a man who'd been the invisible backbone, was devastation. The quarterly review loomed like a bad omen. The kind of corporate pageant Apex loved: glossy slides, optimistic projections, Karen front and center in her power suit. Alex didn't plan to watch. But curiosity pulled him to the live stream, minimized in a corner while he reviewed Vanguard's org chart. His new team was set, 7 strong, including the latest yes from a holdout. Across town, Karen stepped to the podium, voice booming. Apex is evolving, leaner, more efficient, ready for the future. Click. The main dashboard loaded. Partially. Graphs flickered. Timeline stalled. A hush fell. She clicked again. Technical hiccup. Folks. We're on it. But the Echo Lock had dug in, exposing the gaps where knowledge once filled. No one left knew the overrides. The room shifted, execs whispering, clients frowning at their devices. The chat erupted. Why's my feed null? Desks looping. Fix. Karen's composure cracked, her water glass trembling slightly. Back home, Alex closed the stream, a quiet satisfaction settling in. Not glee, more like closure. Vanguard CEO, Marcus Hale, had called earlier. Your insights on Apex's vulnerabilities? Gold. We're positioning to help their clients transition smoothly. No poaching, just opportunity. By evening, 2 Apex clients had reached out discreetly, probing for contingency support. The dominoes were tipping, not because Alex pushed, but because Apex had hollowed itself out. That night, as Sophie curled up with her homework, she asked, "Dad, are we going to be okay?" He hugged her tight. Better than okay. But in the quiet hours, doubt crept in. Was this justice? Or just the fallout of a broken system? He pushed it aside, focusing on the list in his notebook: strengths, risks, how to integrate his team without the old baggage. The cease and desist landed Tuesday morning, delivered by a stern courier who looked apologetic. Alex signed for it, unfolded the pages in the kitchen. Breach of loyalty, interference with business, threats of lawsuits. He almost laughed, bitter. Low. They've got nerve, he muttered. But he'd anticipated this. Buried in his original contract from 2008 was a clause he'd negotiated after averting a major warehouse disaster. No non-compete for roles involving crisis management and system architecture. Apex had signed it eagerly then, desperate to keep him. Vanguard's lawyers pounced, firing back a terse reply: no enforceable restrictions apply. Cease harassment. Checkmate. Word spread quietly, rumors in industry forums about Apex's internal shifts and Vanguard's gains. Then the leak hit, a recording of the quarterly fiasco. Anonymous upload to a tech subreddit. Karen stammering. Screens glitching. The Emperor's new clothes moment. Views climbed. Shares exploded. Client belled. Not dramatically, but steadily 3 more by week's end, citing reliability concerns. Alex's first day at Vanguard felt surreal. The office was modern. Open plan with river views and actual plants that weren't dying. No flickering lights. No endless meetings about cost-cutting. His team arrived staggered, each with a story, Tom joking about the fresh coffee, Lisa eyeing her new budget like a kid in a candy store. Marcus pulled him aside. "You didn't just join us. You upgraded us." Alex nodded, but his mind lingered on Apex. Reports trickled in, layoffs announced. Offshore transitions rushed and botched. Stock dipping. Karen resigned quietly, scapegoated for the mess she'd helped create. It wasn't schadenfreude that stirred in him. It was vindication. 16 years reduced to a percentage. But now? He was rebuilding. On his terms. Family dinner that Friday was different, laughter easier. Plans bolder. Emily talked scholarships. Sophie sketched vacation ideas. But as plates cleared, Alex's phone buzzed, an old Apex colleague. Not on his list. "Man, it's falling apart here. Any openings?" He paused, weighing. "Send your resume. Not revenge. Extension of grace to those worth it." Later, in bed, I asked if he regretted anything. "Only staying too long," he whispered. The storm had passed, leaving clarity. Apex hadn't valued the quiet heroes. Vanguard did. And in that shift, Alex found not just a job, but purpose renewed. The weeks blurred into a rhythm at Vanguard, meetings that mattered, projects with real impact. Alex's protocols integrated seamlessly, boosting efficiency 20% in the first quarter. His team thrived. No more overlooked promotions or thankless grinds. But echoes from Apex lingered, a lawsuit threat that fizzled when their lawyers backed off, realizing the non-compete was toothless. The board scrambled, hiring consultants to untangle the mess. But without the institutional knowledge Alex had carried, it was patchwork at best. Clients kept migrating, 5 total now, their transitions smooth under his guidance. One exec confided over coffee, "We saw the writing on the wall after that showcase disaster." Home life bloomed too. Emily's dorm shopping became a family event. Sophie's braces appointment a non-issue with the new benefits. Alex even started jogging again, shedding the stress weight that had crept on over the years. But one evening, as he sorted old files from Apex, kept for reference, not spite, a pang hit, buried emails, forgotten praises from long-gone bosses. He'd given so much. And for what? A calculated discard. It fueled him, not with bitterness, but resolve. They taught me something, he told me over wine. Value isn't in loyalty given blindly. It's in knowing your worth. Vanguard's growth accelerated, fueled by the influx. Marcus promoted Alex to senior director, with equity stakes. The team celebrated quietly, a lunch where stories flowed, laughter masking the shared scars from Apex. Tom raised a glass to the ones who saw us. But not all ties severed clean. Derek, the leaker, reached out via LinkedIn, apologetic, job hunting. Alex ignored it. Some bridges burn themselves. Meanwhile, Apex's woes mounted, a class action from laid-off workers. SEC scrutiny on their optimization claims. The offshore pivot backfired, cultural gaps, time zone snafus. Quality dips. Their stock halved, buyout rumors swirled. In a quiet moment, Alex reflected on the turning point. That HR room. The averted eyes. It could have broken him. Instead, it forged something unbreakable. He didn't seek destruction. He sought survival. And in leaving, he'd exposed the rot. Vanguard's client roster swelled, absorbing what Apex shed. One night, Sophie asked, "Dad, did you win?" He smiled faintly. Winning's not about them losing. It's about us thriving. But deep down, the irony lingered. They'd handed him the keys to their downfall by undervaluing the lock. As winter set in, Apex's headquarters buzzed with desperation, emergency meetings, hired fixers poring over code Alex had authored. But the Echo Lock's remnants persisted. Subtle bugs no one could fully excise without his map. Karen's replacement called once. Veiled pleas for consulting help. Voicemail deleted. Vanguard, meanwhile, launched a new platform, built on Alex's frameworks, drawing industry buzz. Awards nominations followed, his name whispered in circles as the ops whisper. Family milestones anchored him. Emily's send-off to college. Tears mixed with pride. "You made this possible," she whispered. Sophie aced her science fair, crediting his problem-solving talks. I watched him evolve from the reliable fixer to the strategic force. No more weekends lost to crises. Now, hikes, board games, presents. But the story's shadow? A question. What if loyalty had been reciprocated? Would the empire still stand? Or was betrayal the catalyst for something greater? Spring brought renewal. Vanguard's annual summit showcased their surge, dashboards flawless, projections soaring. Alex presented, voice steady, the room hanging on his words. Applause thundered. Marcus pulled him aside post-event. "You're the difference maker." Humble nod. But inside, validation bloomed. Apex? A footnote now, acquired by a conglomerate. Rebranded. Their old strategies scrapped. The offshore dream dissolved in lawsuits and losses. Karen surfaced in a lesser role elsewhere. Whispers of her showcase flop followed. At home, the backyard bloomed, mirroring our lives. Alex framed Emily's first college photo beside his desk, a reminder of stakes beyond spreadsheets. Sophie, thriving, asked fewer questions about the past. One evening, as we walked the neighborhood, he squeezed my hand. I almost let them define me. Pause. Never again. The journey, from betrayal's sting to empowerment's embrace, left scars, but stronger ones. He hadn't raised the old world. He'd built a better one. Proving worth isn't given, it's claimed. In the end, It wasn't about revenge's thrill or downfall's drama. It was the quiet truth. Undervalue your pillars, and the structure crumbles. Alex stood taller.
Team intact.
Family secure. Legacy unfolding. But the echo remained. Would hidden betrayals lurk in other offices, waiting for their spark? And who will rise when pushed? The question hung, unanswered, a moral whisper in the corporate wind.